drink horchata forever. Horchata, it's rice milk, right? It's sugar. It's rice milk and sugar and cinnamon, yeah. That makes the good stuff. Let me see.
I think it's rice milk in the sense of like almond milk.
Right, like it's not rice that is milked, but rice that is pasteurized.
They get up every morning to milk the tiny rice titties.
They like grind it into milk, whatever that is. Well, welcome to Cold Hard Trash CRT episode 24, now free of audio problems. I'm your host, Trashcan Jones.
And I'm Breeeg, your fellow host.
Also free of audio problems.
On the new blue mic, and by that I mean a microphone that I bought like years and years ago.
Yeah,
keep in a box.
Microphone I bought years and years ago decided to shit the bed, starting at last recordings. That's the microphone that I used to stream and everything, and it was fine today. I don't know. I put the bad juju on it as soon as I walked into this place. Got a hex.
Yeah, sorry.
It'd be really funny.
Witch came by the other night, October 31st.
It'd be really funny if I go back home and there's no problem in it.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna start asking you some questions. You got a lot to answer for, bud.
Hex. Curse. I don't know. It's not my fault I'm cursed.
Yeah, no, I mean, witch drives by. What are you gonna do?
Drive by hexing. Leaning out the window like,
pointing
the
her
wand. Yeah. You're gonna have to deal with a little bit of electromagnetic shit on the microphone.
A little RF interference. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I had this idea, and I want to float it by you comedy-wise. So imagine there's the outtakes of songs, like studio recording songs, just very professional. It's got the background track, everything going, but like I don't know, 30-40% of the way through the recording, they just like step on a nail or just like mess up something. You're like hurt themselves real bad, where they just kind of be like oh shit. And then it's just kind of, it's them dealing with that, but the background track never stops. So I just imagine like Michael Bublé's Sway, and you're just doing like the sway with me, stay with me. Ah, shit. It hit the bone. Oh, shit. And then it just hear dun, 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 in the background. They still just going, like people are rushing in to like help them and everything, and like talk about how they might have to go to the hospital.
If you were to do that, you should just upload it to YouTube as just the song.
You're right. And it's just like
lyric video.
Take one. Lyric video. I was just gonna say like take one. Like it was the first try. It wasn't that great. We went back to it though. You hear the Spotify version? Obviously, that's the one we used. This is that type of shit.
Yeah, you have to sneak it in. You can't tell anyone what's gonna happen. Or I guess you could like make it like a fake thing. Like though, if, like trivia fact: Michael Bublé stepped on 30 mouse traps at once on accident. While he was barefoot in the studio.
There's a mouse infestation in the studio.
Yeah.
And he just happened to step on a bunch of mouse traps.
That's this version. Put it on like a trivia site or something like that.
That'd be pretty good. I'd like that. I think it's a viable comedy avenue though. You just have like songs and like something not horrible, but something just unfortunate happens to where they have to like deal with that situation. Like, maybe like right in the middle of it, they just get a call from like their insurance company that like their house burned down or like their car got totaled. They just have to like now go over with the insurance adjuster while a background track's going, just like of drums and everything. Because like for whatever reason they just don't turn it off or cut it. They're just like, yeah, whatever. We got the studio time. Just keep it running.
It's a natural evolution of the just having like a drive-through order in your song, which they have quite a couple of songs with that.
You just stop at the drive-through in the middle of the song.
Yeah, or you're just like at the start of the song or like during like an intermission part of it, it's just you ordering like a number 4 at Wendy's. Which still the best one of those isn't even in a song, it's Big Smoke's order. Number 9, a number 9 large, a number 6, the extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large Coke.
I don't think it says Coke. But he says, yeah, large something.
Soda.
Large soda. And then he just eats all of that. And fun fact, so there's that mission specifically is supposed to be one of the first big red flags that, spoiler, Big Smoke is a traitor.
I've heard about that. Oh, hello.
Hello, little cat on my lap. because during that mission on your drive back home is when I think it's the Ballas is the rival gang. They do a drive-by on you, and you got to shoot back at them, but Big Smoke doesn't do it. And it's like, oh, why wouldn't he do that? And he's just like, oh, man, I was too busy eating the food. And he's like, oh, you ate all our food too, Smoke? Oh. But it's really, he's like, he probably called that in and was like, oh, no, I just got to duck my head down. I'm not going to be shooting back at them.
Yeah, I mean, his real objective was warfare by starvation.
Starvation, just eat all the food.
Yeah,
sure no one else
the drive-by was just a something that they were doing to distract them while he ate all the food.
Right.
A malnourished enemy is a much easier enemy to best.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Big Smoke is truly the master general.
Secretly Sun Tzu.
The art of war. The war of art. Big Smoke.
Exactly. You know about how there's like the whole concept of like separating an artist from the art,
Of course, yeah.
type thing, and the whole conversation about the ethics of like listening to a certain artist that might be problematic.
Right.
But one angle that I tend to take is when it comes down to it, it's like, is this materially benefiting the artist
Right.
when you're consuming that media?
I guess that would make sense. You don't want to be supporting that artist in any way, but perhaps maybe if you would like in your mind to separate the music from the person, then doing so without monetarily compensation to that person, I feel that's a fair avenue.
Yeah, pirating,
Right.
shit like that. But
Feel from them.
it sort of like makes the question a lot simpler when an artist is dead. Say what you want about like what Michael Jackson has done, but by the fact that he's dead, like you could listen to his music without any guilt whatsoever, or like this isn't even a moral question to you at that point. He's dead. He's not benefiting from it.
Yeah, he's not. His estate might, and they might do shady things. I don't know. I'm not keeping up with the Michael Jackson estate, but
if his estate was doing shit too afterwards,
like the people who owned it, yeah, maybe they were doing some shady business practices or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about it really. I was just gonna say I know there was some controversy about the doctor, like he may have been like responsible for his death, and that may have been like the family pushed him to get that doctor. I don't know. I read into it like right around the time of it, but not a whole lot, and it's been so long.
There's also like H.P. Lovecraft, father of a lot of cosmic horror stories and stuff like that, but he was a huge racist. But he's dead. He's not getting any money from it. We aren't supporting racism by or enabling him to do some bad shit.
Right. Yeah.
By reading his stories. You could just think about the implications of what he was writing about and analyze it and understand. So I might choose to abstain from something while the artist is alive, and then if they were to die, then it would be no moral question anymore of
Fair
me
game,
being
yeah.
able to. So here's a couple of things that I hope I get to listen to again soon.
Oh, jeez.
Or
Okay.
I get to partake in soon.
All right, I'm ready for it.
I'd really like to try a Trump steak sooner rather than later. If anyone could help me out with that.
I've seen people eat them, and they've heard they're just greasy pieces of shit, like worse than a Salisbury steak.
Yeah, but I'd love to try one sooner rather than later if anyone can help me with the moral aspect of that.
Okay.
I think I think the Cybertruck looks really cool.
Why?
It's obviously a death trap, but I think it looks cool.
I think it looks like a terribly made, like terribly rendered, even like old car. Like
Yeah.
If you saw that in a PS1 game, you'd be like, "That's a shitty PS1 car." Like it's supposed to look like a PS1 car, not a shitty version of a PS1 car.
I mean, like bad craftsmanship and stuff like that. Assuming an ideal Cybertruck, I think it looks really cool before people start plastering crypto on the side.
Right, or the Donald Trump rap that one guy got.
And I probably can't afford one, but I would really like to have the moral question behind that settled soon.
Fair.
If anyone out there.
If anyone wants to go buy Tesla.
I really liked Remix to Ignition. Haven't listened to that song in a
R.
while.
Kelly. It's
Yeah.
the remix to Ignition. Yeah, R. Kelly's got to die before anything comes back on the radio for him.
Yeah. I'd really like to watch the other Naked Gun movies.
Well, I mean,
sooner rather than later.
I mean, yeah, OJ's cameos get more prevalent in the other two, which is kind of a shame. In the first one, his cameo is literally just getting beat up, so it's not too bad. But the second and third, he actually gets a more prominent role.
I'd really like to go back and rewatch some old Nickelodeon TV shows sooner rather than later. If someone out there could help me.
Not everything was made by Dan Schneider. The Amanda Show, yeah, that's a rough one because you realize how Amanda Bynes turned out. And Drake and Josh, also pretty rough when you listen to how Jerry Trainer had to do shit on set. But still, 90% of Nickelodeon wasn't Dan Schneider. It was just the 10% that they called
those
their
particular
crown
shows
jewels.
are the one I'm referring to.
Oh,
if anyone could help me.
Okay.
There's this Drake song that I really like.
Can I just clear something up? You're asking people to help you. Are you just calling out hits on these
whoa.
Just saying, hey, can somebody go kill Dan Schneider so I can go watch Drake
I'm
and
not
Josh
saying
again?
that. It would be illegal to say that. It would be that they could arrest me like they did Martin Shkreli when he put out that hit on getting a hair from Hillary Clinton's head. Go to jail.
I didn't see it coming, but a third installment of crimes Breeeg did not commit. He has not committed any conspiracy to murder anybody. Not once.
I haven't had pudding in a while.
Well, that's a weird one. Why not? Who's the celebrity with that one?
The Pudding Pops guy. I can't.
Oh, Bill Cosby. Isn't he dead though? Didn't he die?
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bill Cosby's dead, dude.
I thought he was just rotting,
Aw.
but alive.
She fell asleep and her leg just slowly slid down my hand.
She's so
going
good.
limp.
Age, he's alive.
Is he?
87 years old.
Damn.
No date of death.
Good. Oh, that's it.
Yet.
I was about to just say, how is Bill Cosby still alive? Which reminds me of that RXK nephew line. How the fuck's Flava Flav still alive? For real though, how is Flava Flav still alive? How is Bill Cosby still alive?
Is he that old? Flava Flav?
Flava Flav's 60 something, yeah, but he was a literal crackhead. He was doing crack back in the day.
I really like to try Subway again someday soon.
Yeah, I think you could do that. He's not profiting anymore. They cut ties with him. He's gone.
Maybe, but I'd really like the peace of mind.
Yeah,
fair. Does James Corden sell anything?
I don't think so.
Well, I'd really love to buy something that he made sooner rather than later.
Why do you want stuff from him? If he makes something, it's probably gonna be shitty.
Yeah, I'd really like the moral question settled about that so I can partake in.
James Corden. I think I can put a face to a name. Is he a political person?
He's just really fucking annoying.
I was gonna say, is he like a YouTuber
He's
then?
in Cats.
Yeah. Okay, so he's one of the Daily Show guys. Okay, I think he's got one of the Jimmy Fallon type shows.
Oh, that's also on the list. Jimmy Fallon steaks. I would really like to buy.
Jimmy Fallon's not a bad guy though, is he? He's just kind of cringy.
Yeah, that's.
He's just he's a 35-year-old still trying to connect with 20-year-olds, weirdo. But I mean, that's his job. Literally his business is to do that. You can't blame the guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's just kind of comes off cringy on camera because he's got to be the. Whoa!
If anyone could help me feel at peace with buying an Amy Schumer CD.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna. Even after she died, just why? You don't want that. And not even to be
the main thing I want is to get rid of the question in my head.
It's not even
it's okay to do.
It's not even a funny meme. It's her stand-up. I remember watching 20 minutes of it and just being I felt the same thing after watching a Joe Rogan stand-up of just being this just isn't funny. I just don't really find it comedic at all. The one movie that she had.
Trainwreck.
I think that was it. It had John Cena in it. That was okay. I watched that and was all right, pretty good. 6 out of 10 movie. I wouldn't have gone to the theaters to see it. I think we saw it on demand, but
I watched it in one of the dorm common rooms.
Yeah, didn't hate it. But I suppose that maybe she's not the worst comedic writer, but when she's alone doing that, maybe not the best. Maybe put her on a writing team. Maybe that's where she excels. I don't know. Even then, I'm stretching. I don't know much about Amy Schumer other than all the memes of just she was absolutely not funny. And I went to go see for myself, and I said, yeah, okay, she's really not funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting enough reason for me to want to, get a CD and analyze the work.
Whole CD, just try.
Well,
try to watch one stand-up bit from her, and you'll be like, oh, yeah.
But I can't support her, right?
That's the thing. I feel like you went from like, oh, I can't support Bill Cosby and Jared the Subway Raper, and then you're just like, well, these people are also cringy. I don't want to support them. They're not in the same boat. These are two different categories of people.
Fine. Just trying to, if someone's already like out there doing in this business, seeing if, I can stretch the dollar a little bit.
That is not very subtle subliminal messaging.
Well, I didn't say anything illegal.
Me and Fatima just watched this episode of not Kitchen Nightmares, Hotel Hell. I think it was called the Vienna Inn, where the whole thing was like, oh, it's this couple that runs a restaurant, and maybe it has a reputation for perhaps being a swingers hangout. And every time it's brought up, like the owners like roll their eyes, like, no way, like what? That's just a stupid rumor. Then Gordon Ramsay goes in like, and I'm just gonna go check out the basement, while I have this free time before dinner. It's like the private, authorized access only. It's like super beautiful wine cellar with so many different expensive wines right next to a mineral spa. And it's like all dim lighting and everything. It's like, oh yeah, no, they're not swingers. Anyway, here's our fuck dungeon. Here's where we come downstairs and just, do whatever we need to do down there.
And the mineral spring, you like get mineral water. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to drink that water.
It's one people are bathing in, so yeah, probably not. But yeah, it's like every time they bring it up too, of like, and they have this reputation. They always just kind of like look at each other. It's like, what are you doing here? You're literally in a failing business as Gordon Ramsay is dressing you down, and you're just like, maybe we're gonna swing a little bit. Crazy
like
people.
A private thing. And honestly, I wouldn't even like. How are you gonna have that like be like a thing about your store, and you still agree to have a celebrity come in with a TV camera and
make it a whole thing of like hee about it? Like, why are you at least put on the show of like, oh no, how dare you, like be aghast or something? I don't know. They got their comeuppance. The whole this little show ended with like, oh, we were gonna get you a brand new oven, but then the inspector came out and he had to leave because this is very dangerous and illegal. And they were like, darn it, and then 3 months later it burned down. So probably some insurance, money made from that, but they got their comeuppance. They were not running a very tight ship and were probably doing some seedy things on the side.
Fair enough.
It's not illegal though, right? To swing, it's not like inherently an illegal thing.
No. So there's like some things against bigamy, I think is what it's called, like being married to multiple people.
I thought that's polygamy.
Well, polygamy is like the concept of like being with multiple people, but like bigamy is like a marriage, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. But there's
why that is. I mean, not that I really cared too much, but it's just like, why did they? Was it really a whole religion thing with the start of the country? They were just like, you're only married to one person, and that's that. Because the Mormons don't really give a shit about that. And
but I'm pretty sure they still only have one like legal marriage, and then they just have like religious ones.
Right, but if they had their way, I'm sure, like, because that's the thing, like, it's only because the law says that. But it's just like,
I'm also pretty sure it's a state by state thing, so who knows?
I wonder if there's like something like a loophole we're missing, where if you get married to 4 people, like the tax benefits go crazy. And they realize that, and they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute, we got to limit this to 1."
That's probably,
I don't know.
That's the biggest argument against it, I see. But like swinging itself, like the issue that you might run into is in the case of deciding to get a divorce, like. You could use evidence of that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Even if both people were doing it, you could really complicate everything.
And that'd be like a civil lawsuit, not even a lawsuit. That'd be like a civil case, as opposed to like a criminal lawsuit where like an actual crime has been done. There wouldn't be any like restitution needed to be paid other than like an alimony to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting that like there's the court of laws for like, crime, but then there's also the court of laws just for like good behavior. Yeah, it's a weird thing.
It's about straightening out disputes between 2 people when
neither one, it makes things cleaner. I'll bet, just like keeping things on paper.
Yeah, when no one like committed a crime, but like let's say I don't know, like maybe I kept something of yours and I like claim that I actually own it and you claim that you own it, and it's like, well, if both of you believe you own it, like we'll just hash this out. We'll figure out who actually owns it and then require you to give it to the other person, and then if you like refuse to comply with that, maybe that becomes some type of crime or a lower level crime.
Right. There's like the determining whether or not a crime has been committed, and then the actual like judgment or persecution of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like even that falls out of like what relationship courts would be. Is that like a whole like separate sect of law, like the whole marriage law? Because what else would be kind of like that, where there is no crime kind of even to be found?
I think it's divorce law.
Yeah, it'd be probably only divorce law,
they call
right?
it that.
Yeah, because that's only really where it comes in. There probably is a bit of law regarding the marriage, but it's mostly just signing papers, as opposed to any legalities of like figuring out how to split things up. That's probably where 99.99%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
but there's
custody
no
and stuff like that.
Right. There's no like field kind of even adjacent to it. Maybe environmental law is still like figuring out crimes and stuff like that.
I mean, like business stuff, patent law, stuff like that. You know, like who owns a patent, shit like that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's less law processing and more just like law paperwork. It's like filling out a patent and it's just like, okay, it's done. And then if somebody happens to infringe on that patent, then it becomes a kind of crime. So patent law could still be considered, within the criminal law umbrella.
Also, like, just like breaking contracts and stuff like that, like isn't necessarily illegal.
Yeah,
but
no, it technically wouldn't be.
you have to pay.
Right, they usually say you're subject to litigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess contract law would be another one. And that would probably fall under the same umbrella as divorce law, because it's the contract of marriage. It's a legal contract.
Remember when Google had
adjacent.
that policy of "Don't be evil," and then they removed it?
They just removed it. I think the whole thing was like they put it somewhere else in there, but they just removed it from like the big banner statement of like, by the way, Google is "Don't be evil." They just like moved it to a farther back. I don't know. I remember reading something about it because it was a whole thing like Google removed this, and then it was like a fact check. They actually kind of didn't, but they also kind of did. I don't know. I don't care. Google's probably going to be the Skynet of the future, where they're going to have like the big glass, whatever skyscraper that rule over us.
Mm-hmm. And then Apple, I'm pretty sure they took out their clause in their like terms of use, where you can't use their products in the manufacture or operation of nuclear devices.
Oh, all right. So you can't hook your
now
iPhone
you
up
can.
to a nuke. Oh, you
They
can't.
took it out.
Oh, I see what you're. So now you can run your nukes on the iPhone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
It's like when the Russians took all those PS3s to make a supercomputer.
what?
Was it the Russians or was it the Chinese? I forget. Or it might have even been America. It could have just been like a weird like comment I saw, like the Russians are doing this. I might just have that mixed in my head. But that is a thing. Like somebody got a bunch of PS3s chained together to make a supercomputer. PS3 chained together for computer. I forget which government did it, or if it was like maybe even just a college project. And no, the Air Force Research Laboratory created a powerful supercomputer nicknamed the Condor Cluster by connecting together 1,760 consoles with 168 GPUs and 84 coordinating servers.
Huh. When?
2010. In November of 2010.
Why would you do this when the PS3 is like kind of new?
Yeah, because I wanted to see if they could do it. It was a parallel array capable of 500 trillion floating point operations per second. So 500 T-flops.
Well, I guess like it's probably maybe it just was like a cheaper way to get GPUs.
It was
like,
the U.S. Air Force, just for
like,
posterity.
Good, reliable GPUs.
Yeah, maybe they did like a deal with Sony. I don't know. Maybe they were just like, yeah, we'll give you a bunch of.
Was that included in the sales numbers?
Maybe. Honestly, maybe. That's 1,700 consoles is quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was just more of a thing of like showing off the fact that they could like basically daisy chain them together. Like that's the way they were built, almost like modular, almost coding wise. Because I remember the reading up a lot about and seeing video essays about like the way PS2 development for games was a lot easier than pretty much every other console, just because of the way they basically made it I don't know if it was because it's a Linux operating system, but they made it a Linux PC. So it was like coding to PC, coding back to PS2 was a lot easier than coding to some other proprietary game console like the Xbox or the GameCube. So that's why PS2 had such a crazy big library of games, because even like a small company would be able to figure out how to code for a PS2. It wasn't a super big task. They didn't have to hire a team. They didn't have to do anything. Somebody could just do it.
I'm pretty sure PS2 is it still the most popular console ever? Because it held that for quite a while.
It might have gotten overtaken by the Wii, because the Wii was huge, like sleeper huge. But I think you are right, if not. Most popular console. Another quick look up. Because the Wii, even though it like had absolute shit games, had just a crazy selling for a long period of time.
Well, it was
thinking-
cheap. It was the cheapest option available,
cheap.
and it was novel. It had like shit that the other consoles like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 ended up having to play catch up on the Wii.
Right.
And near the end of their life cycles, they had like PlayStation Motion or whatever, you know, like the wands with the balls at the end, and Xbox's Kinect, which was for the Xbox 360.
Right. Units sold. Okay, so you're right. It is the PlayStation 2. The Nintendo, it was the DS. The DS and the Switch were the two right behind it. PlayStation 2 is at 155 million, whereas the DS was at 154, scraping right below it. And the Switch, 143. The Wii was down at 101. Underneath the PlayStation and PlayStation 4.
I remember seeing this was like at I was watching like an E3 2022 or something like that, and they were still releasing Just Dance for the Wii at that point. It was like Just Dance 2023 for the Wii, which kind of makes sense. Like, it's not like every generation they've been making Just Dance games like,
right,
you know, oh my god, we have this new technological leap that allows us to finally make the true form of Just Dance.
Right,
like,
and put the Wii remotes on your feet.
Yeah. But like, apparently the whole thing with that is that like they'll use them in like hospitals and like you know, like rehab,
yeah, for just,
physical
like,
rehab
motion
and
games.
stuff like that. And so they still put out the new Just Dances for it, and I think that's fairly sweet. I don't know if they still do it today, you know, a couple like years later. Like we would be seeing if E3 was still around. I don't think it is. We would see like a trailer for Just Dance 2025 in that, and maybe if they're still making them, and maybe that would be on the Wii.
There was something similar with the PlayStation 2 because of, I think, particularly in South American countries, there were a bit lower income. The PlayStation 2 was still a very popular console found in households. So FIFA was the last game made for PlayStation 2. I think it was FIFA 2020? FIFA 19 or something? It went for a while. Let me check. Another third look up, but that's one of the craziest things. Yeah, PlayStation 2 had games way beyond its life. FIFA, just specifically because of it, had a huge market in South America. That's where they were able to make money off it. Was it? Okay, I might have been wrong. It was, I think 11 was the last one, but still, that's pretty far.
Yeah, considering.
Oh, it was 14. Sorry, again, wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty good for it, because like, yeah, PlayStation 3 was in like what, 2009, 2010.
Yeah. But a quick Google, there was a bunch of different results and like Reddit posts of like different things, so I had to thumb through really quick to actually find the right answer. 14 was the first one not made.
We're still waiting to hear about the Switch 2, which I don't think there's any other consoles are like gearing up for a release. But the Switch 2 is, it's heavily implied to be coming out or being announced soon. But
Neat. I wonder what's going to be different about it.
hopefully nothing. Like just make it a bit more powerful or something like that. Because I think they got a winning formula.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the novelty of it, it's pretty much the last like real video game console. Everything else is just becoming basically a PC.
Yeah, and also like mobile gaming, like you either gotta like really like phone games or get a Switch.
I was gonna say, imagine now with,
or a Steam Deck.
Yeah, I would assume that a lot of mobile games, though, are probably already proprietary into Microsoft and Sony, because they have, you know, like Call of Duty Mobile, and they have all this other, like, so I don't know if mobile gaming could be in a way to, like, branch with Switch, because you would think Switch also is mobile gaming, so maybe gaming on the phone, gaming on the Switch, they might have some cross-play, some able to, you know, link there, but I don't know. Switch might still be off on its own island for a while.
Well, they have a Mario Kart Tour, which is the phone Mario Kart, which is a subscription service, which is horseshit.
Yeah, that's Nintendo, baby.
Like, I paid for Mario Run, and I played Mario Run. It was like, you know, $10, whatever. But it's, you buy it, you have it.
Right.
That's it. But a subscription to play Mario Kart on your phone?
Because I think isn't it that they make new maps and they're like of real places, and that is its whole thing?
Yeah. Well, they did a DLC drop in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe where it was like they doubled the number of maps, but a good portion of those were remakes from previous games, which is still really cool because you bring it up to the modern game and you have to make a lot of changes to get that done. Or games or maps from Tour. And yeah, it is real life places. You go to like Tokyo and shit like that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
They're actually some of my favorite maps, even though they're like less flashy, because they have a pretty consistent theme of having like each lap be either slightly different or the third lap is just like a completely different thing entirely. Like the Tokyo one, you like sort of go around the thing and then you like go around it like a slightly different way, and then the last lap is you go on an on-ramp and you go on the fucking highway.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're actually just on the highway.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Huh.
That's at least the one that I mainly remember. Like something in Singapore is another cool one with a lot of like water effects and stuff like that. And you like go up to like these tall buildings with like pools on top.
Oh, neat.
And you drive around and then like you go over this different like water feature, and it's at nighttime and there's all these like bright lights, like stuff like that coming off the buildings. Really cool.
Yeah, it's wild. That'd be wild. It's like they made that little toy that had you can connect to your phone where you can drive a Mario Kart like wherever and do it in first person. It seems like it's like another iteration of that where you get to bring Mario Kart into real life.
Yeah.
Get to actually just map out a course.
That is a cool toy, but like I would never get it because it's like a.
That'd be fun
toy.
to drive around your cats though. You'd probably have a time with that.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It seemed like pretty limited time and like. Yeah, you set up like a course around your apartment or whatever, but like there's not like you have multiple things. Like you set up one course for yourself alone.
I think you can race against like ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, there's like ghosts and stuff. And if a cat were to attack it and like break it,
yeah, yeah.
then what? But it's cool. It's interesting, and I'm sure people other than me got it and supported it, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
What's the other Mario Kart thing? They had this whole Nintendo LABO thing, which was really
the
cool.
cardboard. I remember.
Yeah, that's also a really cool thing for kids, which I wouldn't be interested in doing myself. But like, you like get this like bunch of cardboard stuff with all the perforations, and you're supposed to build it together because they've come out with a lot of engineering toys for kids nowadays.
Yeah.
Where like you read the instructions. It's sort of like LEGO or Connects is something that I was really into when I was younger.
Sure.
Bionicle type shit where you get to build it yourself. And so you'd put that together, and then you would use the Joy-Cons in certain ways, and you'd be like, here's like a fake little fishing reel.
Right.
Here's like a little piano thing made out of cardboard.
Yeah,
Very creative
cool.
use of the technology.
I remember seeing those come out, and I'm being like, oh, that's a really cool thing, to have like little kits and whatnot. But also, you're gonna need to either have like a gigantic supply of those for anybody to care about them, because I think they only had like 4 or 5, right? They had like the fishing rod, they had the piano, they didn't really have a lot. It was like the Wii Sports attachments things. You really didn't get a whole lot out of it, to where it's like cool if you want to get them as attachments, but they're not really going to be able for wide use even on the console, let alone for anything else.
Well, one of them, I'm pretty sure, was a wheel.
Okay,
so
that's
you
pretty
could
sweet.
use that with Mario
See,
Kart.
There you go. Something like that's cool. You get a wheel, or maybe the zapper is obviously the classic one. You can use that in a lot of different things. That makes sense. Like you buy a wheel, you buy a zapper, because you see, what games can I use this with? What games is it going to be better with? There's lots of driving games. There's lots of shooting games. There might be a lot of fishing games, a couple of those, so maybe that's another one. But maybe not a lot of piano games or whatever else they had. I think was there a bike one too? I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah.
I remember there was the Wii Fit you were supposed to attach to your ankle, the Joy-Con ones.
There's like a thing like that. There's also Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah,
where you get a ring and you gotta like do squats and like
squeeze it. Yeah, I remember.
Which that seems cool. I think I saw a speed run of that once. Just a guy getting really, really tired.
Say actually working out for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, why not? I'm a speedrunner for Wii Ring Fit. Now I'm getting my life in shape.
Yeah.
Why not?
Super low resting heart rate.
I was gonna say, if speedrunners are ever like getting worried about their health, just start speedrunning like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, just stuff like that, where you actually gotta work out. Because doing that 100-meter dash, ooh, that'll get you.
Yeah, the Wii attachments and stuff were all pretty cool. Like the nunchuck was a great little piece of technology.
I don't know how that worked, because that had like the Wii remote had its little sensor and laser. The nunchuck also had a motion thing that also tracked your hand.
Well, so the Wii remote and the nunchuck both had like motion sensor things.
Right.
And the Wii Remote also had an infrared sensor to put the thing on the screen.
Right, but you could move your hands independently. How did it know where the nunchuck was? It didn't have a sensor.
It should have.
Didn't have like a thing pointing at the laser now?
No, but it had a motion sensor inside of it for how you moved your hand. But the pointer thing was only for like putting the cursor on the screen.
Yeah, and I suppose they wouldn't really have to worry about a range of motion with the nunchuck because it's literally attached to the controller. So they only have to worry about whatever motion that it feels. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Do you know that you could, like, if you lost the sensor bar thing? Well, the sensor bar isn't a sensor bar; it's an emitter.
Yeah. You can use two candles instead.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
It's pretty neat because all you can do is hit the light.
Yeah, because the thing itself is like it just using candles instead. I think it's just so interesting because it reveals a lot of information about how that works that I didn't know before.
Right.
Because I thought the remote itself was shooting out a laser. It was
right,
being
like
read
the
by
TV.
the thing. Yeah, like how that remote would work. But no, it's in reverse. And the Wii remote itself is reading in information about the surroundings and then sending a signal to the TV to tell it what to do. Or
right.
to the console to tell it what to do.
It's like a low-scale Kinect. You ever seen those on the UV camera?
The Kinect, like the
the
Xbox
Kinect
thing?
It shoots out like basically a 9x9 grid of different like laser points, and then it's just able to like tell what the motion is by being able to do that, seeing what's like going on in the different lasers.
I did play with a Kinect once at a friend's place. It was okay. We did a thing where we were like in a raft and we had to like lean
the
back
Kinect
and forth
Adventures
and stuff like that.
Classic. Yeah,
I didn't think it was. I don't think it had as much of a future in the thing, which it didn't.
Nah, they tried to make it a whole like the Xbox was going to be your smart console, all in one. Like, it's weird to even think about back in the day, but they tried to make it like the all-in-one box. Like, oh, you're not going to need your cable box. People still had DVD players, VCRs, things like that. Like, it's going to be your all-in-one box for your living room, and it's like not what most people use the Xbox for. Some people use it for like the Netflix machine to have in the living room, but usually it's in a bedroom. It's like tucked away. It's not like the family room thing. And people really weren't looking to make it the family room thing.
Well,
they were kind of...
That was the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Because you remember the whole like stand-up thing where it's like, here's the Xbox One presentation, and it's just him going, sports.
Madden.
Yeah. Netflix. Sports.
Of course, yeah. That's right. I forgot the Kinect came out on the 360. I just remembered.
Late 360.
Yeah.
It was only compatible with like newer models of 360.
Right.
Too. When they got the sleeker.
Yeah, the Elite version, I think it was. So it was the arcade was the white one, I think. Or that might have been the Pro, because I think the Elite was the original black one that still had the old chunky look, and then the Pro came out with like the touchscreen buttons and everything.
Yeah, I have a special Xbox that's of the older models like casing, but it's of the newer models hardware.
Really?
It was a Modern Warfare 2 Special Edition.
Ah, pretty cool.
Because I didn't have an Xbox at the time, and I heard about this game, and my friends were going to play it and stuff like that, so it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to start saving money. And I bought that.
Nice.
Saved up. It was really cool.
I got the Halo 3 Special Edition 360. The one that's like green with the orange metallic on the sides.
That's cool. Yeah, mine just looks like a regular Xbox, except it has like...
It has the newer internals, though, so it actually runs better. Mine's just a Gen 1 Xbox. I think it's an Elite, but still just the Gen 1 Elite.
Yeah, it wouldn't have like the newer motherboard or whatever that they needed for the Kinect.
It still has a potential Red Ring of Death problem if I were to play it for multiple days on end. Which was really the problem. Like, it's a testament, like, the Red Ring of Death was such a problem, but it was a testament to just how good the Xbox was. Because really, the only way to do it was overheating the shit out of your Xbox. Playing it multiple hours every single day, leaving it on overnight. Like, those are all just easy ways to get it to happen to you. And people did it in scores. If you just played your Xbox 3 hours a day and turned it off, you would never get a Red Ring of Death. So many people just played the ever-living shit out of it.
Maybe it was Call of Duty Zombies. Because people get into that, and it's like, okay, this is like a 6-hour session.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like 10 minutes to get through one wave.
Yeah, especially like towards the end of the
zombies.
Rounds. It gets to the point where if you get to like round 20, you don't like the way things are going, like you ditch the investment. So like you're 30 minutes in, you're like, I'm not going the next 4 hours with this shit. Let's just start it over. Because we already messed something up the way we like it.
Yeah.
We opened a door we don't like or something. We're not going to do that.
Yeah. I'm happy. I still have that Xbox. I just don't play it because what am I going to really do on it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Saints Row. You can play Saints Row 1.
I did have Saints Row 2 on it, or maybe Saints Row the Third.
Yeah,
One of them.
both good games. Saints Row 2, the pinnacle, but Saints Row 2 has a PC release. Did I mention this on the podcast? How Saints Row 2 mods got better?
I think you were telling me in the car.
It is hilarious. So there's a very, I don't know, it's not very famous. It's famous in the Saints Row community of this guy who, I think is Afro Ninja? Afrodon, something like that was his screen name. I'll have to look it up. I'll put it in the video version. He was working on a mod to fix the Saints Row port of PC port because it was just a mess porting from Xbox to PC because that was back in the days when they did that instead of just making a PC game. I don't know. It was pretty terrible and messy, buggy, just glitched to all hell. So this guy starts working on it as a fan, completely free. This is back in like the mid 2000s. So he's just doing it on like update blogs and people are following along. Then he gets some type of cancer. I believe it was pancreatic cancer. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but he's laid up in the hospital, still working on the Saints Row mods. Sending pictures of himself in the hospital, like with the laptop, thumbs up and everything. He gets the last iteration that he can done of the mod, Gentleman of the Row, he calls it. Releases it and unfortunately passes away. It's a whole big thing in the community. Everybody's heartbroken. The mod will never be fully complete to his vision. It's only, this much done. Saints Row gets a reboot recently. They had their whole, I think Gat Out of Hell was the last main series one. 5 years of silence. They get the reboot. Everybody's super disappointed with it. It's so bad. It's terrible sales that nobody likes it. All the original fans are so upset. They go back to that guy's mods. They start fixing them up even more. They make it even better. Like the renewed vigor of the fan base is like, no, we got to make his vision true. They updated on Nexus mods, so now it's even easier to download. You don't have to go to his weird website someone was still archiving. Like it became a whole new, you can play Saints Row 2 in HD, in no way you've ever done before. All because they fucked it up so bad. It's so funny.
What a beautiful legacy for him, though.
Right, his legacy stood stronger than the actual legacy of the game developers and the game itself, even. Because the new Saints Row, everybody just is, forget about that. We're going back to Saints Row 2. We're going to make it the best experience like we know it can be. It's sad. It's such a feel-good moment. He's probably up there smiling down. Rest in peace, Afro. God. I'm going to look up his name right now so I get it right. She's
looking at your phone.
Yeah,
you got games on your phone?
I'll edit out this silence. Who was the guy? Idle Ninja, not Afro Ninja. Idle Ninja. Idle Ninja. Rest in peace, my guy. He was too good for this world. He cared about that game more than the damn developers themselves, it would seem. Because they just took that IP to the shitter, and he saw the actual what it could be. That open world crime experience. Better than any GTA game, honestly. Of the time, anyway. GTA 5 is kind of incomparable to anything, but GTA 4, I'll definitely put it over. Saints Row 2 is peak.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was Saints Row the Third because I thought the naming convention was funny. That it stuck in my head, but evidently not that well because I don't know which one it was that I got.
That was a decent game. That was the Saints Row the Third was one you could jump into people's cars to carjack them, drop kick them through the windshield. It got really, really crazy off the walls. It was
I didn't
fun.
get really far in it. I still remember you telling me in a 7-Eleven about how one of the Saints Row games starts where it's you're the president and they bring out a button and it's cure a terrible disease or fix world hunger. It's just got 2 buttons.
It's at Saints Row 4, yeah. We first start out by saving the world by Doctor Strange loving a missile and punching the cords out of it before it can blow up, and then you just land in the White House and then are elected president because you saved the world. But yeah, Keith David as your vice president goes, okay, I have 2 bills you can sign. One will cure cancer and one will end world hunger. And you have
I only got enough money for one.
You have fuck cancer or let them eat cake. And you just go, well, cancer had a good run. Got to get it gone. Or you say, fuck it. Everybody deserves to eat a little bit. That's that game. It takes the little bit that it went off the walls in the third and just goes crazy.
Yeah, did they end up getting too crazy with it?
I mean,
what about the? How were the later ones received before the reboot?
The later ones at first were received kind of lukewarm, especially by the fan base, but especially as it went on, people kind of warmed up to them because they were definitely different. It was all departing from Saints Row 2. They were more in line with the third installment, which Saints Row 2 was the best in fans' minds, and Saints Row 3, while still being good, was a departure. People like Saints Row 3 and 4 and Get Out of Hell, while it kind of didn't do great sales numbers, are now like kind of beloved by the fan base. Especially because they just do so much with like the stories of everything. All the different worlds, different connected. Neil Patrick Harris in the fourth one came back to redo his role that he did in Saints Row 2 as DJ Veteran Child. Pretty crazy that they even went back to get that poll. Like, you could have just had some random guy. He was there for 2 lines. You could have had anybody do it. But nah, Neil Patrick, get back here. We need you, bud.
Yeah.
That was always a weird poll they had. They had, in the first one, I think it was Michael Clark Duncan, Mila Kunis, and Michael Rappaport on their voice cast, which is like crazy. For a game like no one's heard of, not a AAA studio. The second one, that Michael Rappaport came back, Keith David, he was in the first one too. He came back. Who else was really popular in the second one? Oh, I just said Neil Patrick Harris. It's just wild, like they just go out and get these, I don't know if they're not exactly A-list actors, but definitely well-known names. To where you're like, why? How? I thought this cost a lot of money, and I thought you weren't a lot of money.
Well, I think Keith David at least has a.
He probably comes pretty cheap. He's done a lot of bad movies.
Well, he also I think he has a fondness for weird shit like that.
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean, he's the fucking president in Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and he's what's his name? Colonel, I forget, in Mass Effect, the main guy. Not for children.
Hello.
Captain Cameo, and from my lap to yours. The journey is complete. Yeah, what is it? It's not Keys. What is his name? It's Colonel or Ambassador something. I forget. But he's one of the big guys in the Mass Effect games, yeah. Keith David is weirdly one of those guys who never batted an eye at voice acting. Because I think that's kind of a stigma for like Hollywood actors. I don't know if it still is, but it definitely was when voice acting was first come out. It was seen as like, not the thing to do.
I know that video game music also sort of had like a bad rap at first. It's like not like I mean, it's for a video game. That's pretty much it. But also, you know what had a reputation like that? Film scores had trouble being legitimized at first because people didn't consider it to be like real music for the sake of music. It was like to complement something else.
Right. Interesting. How do they get around that then? Because normally for video games, they would just have somebody on the team make a little ditty or whatever, and they could do that. But how do you can't just make somebody make a score. You need a musician to do that.
No, you still get them, just maybe someone with less of a name to themselves at the time or something like that.
Huh.
But then, as time goes on, people see it more and more as something that a composer actually does.
Interestingly, I don't know if it was everywhere in the world, but I know in the Japanese arcade scene, they had musical composers come on there pretty early. So I have the vinyl for Gradius, which came out in 1985, and it was basically not the first, but one of the first to actually have a musical composer make music for the game as opposed to just the little ditties and whatnot. And there was full sound capabilities because they have a little pamphlet that comes with here's all the different things about the Gradius soundtrack, all the background info. They had the capabilities to make full range of sounds, but I think that was the first one that actually they hired a musical composer to make a score for the game, as opposed to just trying to make some repetitive thing with their new music technology. So not everybody thought video game music was not worth it.
Yeah, of course not. But
But in general,
the level of names that you would expect to see on something like that.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's all just copyrighted music. GTA has all the crazy songs on the radio.
Yeah, if it's a video game with a radio, you're not gonna make an entire multiple different artists. I mean, you could, I guess, but that's much easier to just license music.
50 Cent did his whole soundtrack for Bulletproof, the PS2 game.
Yeah, but it's all as it's not 50 Cent and then also some other dude. 50 Cent composing and creating an entire other persona multiple times over, because that wouldn't be realistic for a radio, right? Like, what kind of radio would only play music from a single artist?
I think that's true, but I think in that game there is only music of 50 Cent. It's
Yeah.
like you have to buy it from the guy back of a guy's trunk, and he's like, "Well, whatever, it's my music," because you're 50 Cent buying it. So it's
Having to buy your own music from a trunk.
pretty good. It's a pretty funny concept. I'm glad they added it in the game.
Makes me think of how, you know how with the whole, like, there's a bunch of different shows on, like, modern streaming services where, like, you'll get, like, 1 season or 2 seasons and then they'll just cancel it right away. Apparently a lot of, like, the animators and people that worked on those shows, like, don't get copies of the show that they worked on. And some people have had to actually pirate the show that they worked on to have a version of it for themselves that they could use.
That's pretty ironic.
Yeah. So
Pretty funny though.
it's funny because they did end up getting what they needed, but it's fucked up that they like weren't given like a final copy of any of that stuff. Like you could just put like an overlay over it that's just like, you know, this is a personal copy for a single person, and like, you know, if anyone ever tried to distribute that, they would obviously see that it's from that one particular person.
Right, they'd have the watermark on it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they just don't. You could walk by.
You really don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, it's about time we should probably wrap up anyway. We got board
Yeah,
games to go get playing.
That's kind of the main reason I want to wrap it up right now. I don't want to delay board game night for more than an hour and a half from what the original start time was supposed to be.
Well, he just kind of said the original start time it's kind of our fault.
It was easy to get an extra hour, but then
we kind of pushed it even farther.
Yeah.
Our mistakes. But thank you for listening to CRT episode 24, Cold Hard Trash. If you liked it, tell your friends about it. Write it on the wall, any wall, whether it's inside your house, outside your house. Find a wall, write it on there, and then rate it 5 stars.
rate us 1 star if you're brave enough.
Oh, yeah, we'll find you if you don't.
Rate us 3 stars if that's your honest opinion, I guess.
Just give us your honest opinion.